Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die. So come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Pop Culture Corner. My name is Ty, and I'm the host and creator of the brand. I'm super excited for tonight. Someone who's given me an opportunity to do something that I've always wanted to do is write. And I reached out, was able to talk to Casey from GWW, and got an opportunity to do so. It also gives me opportunities and doors that have opened since then. So I'm, he'll say otherwise, but I'm forever in that debt. Plus, I like the show being partnered with a site that's pretty credible. And I've long since wanted to get him on the show, and tonight we're gonna be able to get to do that. So, without further ado, Mr. Casey Walsh, what is going on, brother? You're
Fun.
Yep.
There you go.
You're a little muted.
Oh my gosh. What's going on, man?
Nothing, man. I haven't streamed in a couple days. Kind of, took the holiday off. Had a good Christmas, and how was your Christmas? Good stuff.
Yeah, it's just kind of normal, chaotic.
Especially with the kids,
Yeah.
kids Christmases can be kind of overwhelming. So, if you survive that, you can survive anything.
Well, my family is definitely out of control in many senses, and so
I
it's
see you
definitely
still.
eventful.
I see you still have the stockings up.
Oh yeah, I haven't touched the stockings yet.
But listen, man. Before we bring Caiden in, before we bring, anyone else in, so how'd you get your start in this whole game? I usually like to preface some things. I like to get a background feel for somebody. How did you get in on all this?
I don't even remember. I mean, it's been so long. So I back in the day, there was a site, or this site was called Geeks with Wives.
Okay.
And so basically what would happen is, what happened was, I think I heard them, they did a video game podcast, and I think I was listening to them or something. And I'm like, hey, are you guys looking for writers or anything? And they were like, yeah, I mean, if the owner then was named Joe, and he was like, yeah, go for it. We would love to have more people writing. So then, I just wrote some article about the Guardians of the Galaxy.
The original Guardians. Sorry, he's got a kid, and we all know how that is.
Hello.
So, we all know how
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. So you
Sorry,
wrote that
my
article.
child literally ripped the ear pod out of my fucking ear.
Yep. Oh yeah, they'll do that. They'll do more than that. That's okay. We live in that world. Yeah.
So basically I just wrote one article, and then he was like, hey, do you want to write more? And I was like, sure. But they were all in the video games and stuff, so I was the only one that was in the comic books. So then I just started writing comic book stuff, related stuff, and reviews, and then eventually I reached out to all the comic book companies and got on their lists, and then it kind of just spiraled from there. And at some point, I don't know, Joe just asked me to just run the whole site in general, and he would just kind of do the back end stuff. and then he sold the site like a few years ago to another guy named Joe, and that's who runs it now. And yeah, so basically all I do is just keep the content coming in and make sure that we have people writing, and then that way everyone kind of just gets to still do stuff. And
Oh, okay. That makes a little
hopefully
bit
it's
more
not.
sense. Now that I think of it.
Yeah. And again, like I said, I don't do a lot. You know me, I don't say no to anybody, despite people who think like I'm like this mean, like arrogant guy. I mean, I don't feel I'm that way. I mean, I
No,
certainly
no,
speak my
no.
mind, but like I don't like, even if someone disagrees on something or whatever, I kind of treat, my philosophy has always been this with the GWW. It's always been just like, it's my website, it's our platform, but like do with it as you please. Like come in and say what you want, use it as like your tool to grow, use it as like, I don't like expect anyone here to like stick around or like make this their career, but like if you just have time to do it, you do it. If you don't, like I mean, people come on and fall off all the time, and I totally understand that. No hard feelings or whatever. It is what it is. I don't expect anybody to like make this a career. Like if you are trying to make this a career, good luck. Like,
Yeah, for
it's
real.
drying up fast, and like it's not like it's kind of a well-known thing that like this is like a like the jobs, the like paying jobs, like, and they like are few and far between, and they're becoming more and more that way, especially in like quote unquote big media or whatever, any of these like giant bigger websites. I
Yeah.
mean, you've seen it, like
Yeah.
Colander and all these other, they're all they constantly lay off people every year. There's
Yeah.
they get smaller and smaller. So
And then it becomes a lot of freelance. Like and when I say freelance, it's like kind of what a lot of sites do now is they won't pay you to write, but they'll give you the opportunity to write on a platform and then get recognized and maybe get a job at Variety or one of these other sites. So like just a way to spread your own content, because everyone these days can be a content creator, right? Like for me,
right. Mm-hmm.
I make YouTube videos. I also like to write articles on the GWW so that I can also infuse them with my content, right? It doesn't always have to be that way, but generally I'll link a video of mine at the end, and it's a way for me to um get payment out of it in some form. And I know that makes it sound weird, but you know what I mean? Like that's all I need. I don't want money.
Yeah, I mean, I've never taken a cent or done anything like from this with the site or anything like that. So yeah, it's always kind of been my philosophy too. It's like I don't expect it. I don't treat this like a job. I don't expect anybody to treat this like a job. Like if you feel like it is becoming a job, like don't do it. Like I'm not like please go find a place that will pay you. Like there are plenty of places out there, and believe me,
Yeah.
if I could, I totally would. But I don't like, I never check like site stats or any of that stuff. Like I don't care.
Right. Right.
I tell the guy who runs it, I basically say just make sure like we're paying the bills, so none of us have to pay anything out of pocket, and keep it open. And then that was kind of my rule. So that's all we really do. And then
Yeah.
anything that is, I'm hoping it's benefiting like you guys, like it's benefiting the people who are contributing, and they can sell their brand or get their name out there
Yeah.
and do whatever they want to do with that. And
I think it really is. And for what it is, the business model that you've created, where it's like anti-business model, I think
yeah,
I think it's just I think
and
it's a
just to be
great.
clear, like I've never been my goal. Like I've gotten job offers at the websites. It's never gonna pay me what I make at my real job. So it's never been my goal to make money off the site. I've never even tried. It's never even been something I've thought about. It's always been like just make sure like we're covering the cost of everything, and then after that, like I don't really want you to like, we never like try to sell ads. Like it's never something I push or any of that shit. So I don't know.
Right.
It is
No,
what it
but
is. I don't care. It's fun. It's
overall,
supposed to be fun.
it's a fun place. It's a place for all nerds. And like I said, um, there's not a lot of websites that I would have affiliated myself with. based on their views, based on certain aspects. But GWW, I felt when I read their articles or read, the articles leading up to me asking, was everything was based in the actual medium of it, right? So it was comic reviews. It wasn't always scoops. It was, hey, I watched this movie, see what I thought. These other websites that get so convoluted with like scooping, and like every other article is, a theory or something
Well,
like
not even
those
that.
get
It's always just people reporting on other people's stuff all the time. Like, you know what I mean?
all
Like
the
every other
time.
site is just I almost repeat. Like again, that takes away from the original person. Like I know it's nice to have like these callbacks and you do want it, but at the same point too, you want people going directly to the site. And so I'm not trying to like say like I don't do it on purpose. Like if someone wants to write about another person's article or another person's news story, like have at it. But it's not something I push. It's not something I say, someone needs to go write about this right now.
Right,
Like,
right.
I never do that. Like it's always people, I always let people do like what on their time, what they want to do. Like if you don't have any interest in it, then don't write about it. Like if you do, like have at it. So I never like really push anything on me. The only thing I push on people is editorial. I just think that's just because it helps you become a better writer. But other than that, like
Yeah, agreed.
not really trying to like shove anything down anyone's throat around here. So
Yeah, no,
I think other like I wish other websites had that issue too. Like I don't want to name any names, but there's sites that just report on every single little thing that comes out of anyone's mouth, like that's said on any podcast. And it's like those three, like they'll make like 5 fucking articles out. Like the Kevin Smith like had a podcast and like I saw 3 articles out of whatever he said about fucking Batman and shit. It's like fuck, man. Like
really.
yeah, you just can't you can't say anything, you can't do anything without all these sites. And they're doing it because they have to make money because they're trying to pay people, or they're trying to make money because they want it to be a viable business. And I just don't think, I don't know, I don't it's that's what you're gonna do, then that's what you're gonna do, then fine. But like I just never
That's
wanted
not
that to
us.
be.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
that's
didn't
not
want
us.
that to be. I wanted people to be able to express themselves. Like even if someone wanted to come to me and write something that I completely disagree with, as long as it's within the realms of like, hey, this isn't like bigotry or racism or whatever. It's just like a viewpoint on a movie or a TV show or whatever. If it's, I just want people to have a forum for it. So if that happens, go like have at it, like go up for it. I don't usually tell people no. That's just what
Right,
I'll say.
right. And to kind of switch gears here, and I'm going to take a hard left on you right now. One thing I did notice about your social media presence is that you can, I don't know if it's on purpose or if it's on like if that's who you are. Some people may think you come across as aggressive in your
Oh, I'm totally an
viewpoints.
asshole. Like I don't like my wife would probably agree with most of those people at some point.
Well, the thing is,
Like
I don't think you're an asshole. I don't.
I just I think yeah, sure, I just don't I want the truth out there. Like I don't want like I don't like people like following these like ideals that don't, I don't know, they're either going to abandon immediately for something else, which we see a lot of with a certain group of people,
Fan base.
or like they're just doing it like for attention and there's no like truth behind it. They're not checking anything and they're just riling people up. And so yeah, I tend to probably go after people a little bit, and I tend to go after people, especially people who are in the same industry, who may be saying like I don't know, scoopers or whatever. I don't know if I go after them directly, but I tend to kind of call that stuff out because I do think it's misleading. I do think it's unfair, and I do think like a lot of people get away with it,
Okay.
and no one
Okay.
no one says anything. You know what I mean? It's like kind
Yeah.
of crazy.
Here's the $1 million question.
Uh-huh.
Where do you stand on the Snyder community? Where do you stand on that? Do you think there's a possibility of it returning ever, or is it dead in the water?
I don't think you can ever say this is so dumb because right, like of course you can never say never. Like you can say that about a lot of things, right? But I don't think it's anything that's in the foreseeable future. Like, you know what I mean? Like Andrew and Toby can definitely come back, but how long was that? Like it took 10 or 20 years? I don't even know how long those movies. 90?
Yeah,
Yeah, 20
20
years. So
years of
could
Spider-Man
could
movies.
could they theoretically bring all those people back in 20 years when, I don't know, who knows if half of them will even be alive or have careers by that point? Theoretically, that could certainly happen. Do I think that we should be harassing people and sending death threats and calling people and going after Hollywood Reporter writers and all these other writers and all these other people for opinions that they have about certain movies because or saying that things aren't going to happen when actors have come out and said that things aren't going to happen and other people have said things aren't going to happen and the entire studio head has come out and said things aren't going to happen. And again, I think it's a lot of people who use whatever. It would have been something else, right? Now it's becoming the Toby and fucking Andrew that shit. Like there's this, you know what I mean? There's going to be a whole contention of people who are going to be calling for this shit until it happens. And they're going to get all riled up and you're going to see 100 news stories you already have about Toby and Andrew coming back, and they're definitely coming back, and they're coming back in Spider-Man 4, and Andrew's going to fight Venom and blah, 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 blah. Like, what are you talking? Like, that's not even, that's not, like, you don't know that. Like, no one knows that. Like,
no one could possibly know that.
Exactly. No one could possibly know that. Like, scripts change all the time. Stories change all the time. Like,
the only person who knows that,
it's crazy.
By the way, is Hocus Pascal.
I mean, even if they, I mean, it doesn't even sound like they're on the same page because I mean, in interview, like they don't have an official deal done. Like,
no, you're right. You're right.
Like they may have had ideas. Like they may have said, oh, maybe for Tom Holland's Spider-Man we can do this or this. But have they already like laid out like a plan for Andrew Garfield and like Tom Hardy's Venom to like meet? No. Like
no.
That's insane. Like, come on, people. Like what if this thing bombs? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know. So it's crazy. I don't know.
They barely know what they're doing for Venom 3. They barely know what they're doing with the whole Morbius thing. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. Like it's nothing, especially something like Spider-Man 4, where we have a plethora of films from now till then that are going to change the MCU entirely. Doctor Strange 2 is going to change the MCU, the fabric of the MCU.
Well, you're seeing like Doctor Strange now too. Even with Doctor Strange, it's like you're gonna hear every single character talked about that's possible to show up in those movies.
Yeah,
and everyone's gonna say,
"Oh, are gonna be X-Men,"
and this person's gonna show up. It's like, number one, like these movies are never as big as we make them out to be, like in the atmosphere of fandom, right? Like they never are that big. Even like even Spider-Man No Way Home, like it wasn't as big as we thought. Like even I was like thought that it was going to be, oh, this is going to be like a Sinister Six movie, and like so and so else is going to show up, blah 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 blah. Like you know, it wasn't that. Like, you know, it's like much smaller, like a much tighter movie. It was a much more movie about Tom Holland or Tom Holland Spider-Man, and then like I think Multiverse of Madness is going to be a similar thing. Like it's going to be it's not going to be this end game level event. Like every movie's not going to be end game level like shit. You know what I mean? They're going to save that stuff. So
they're going to save that stuff for the legitimate team up crossovers. Like that's where that shit is reserved for, right? Anything else, like if we have a 1 or 2 Avenger team up, then yeah, it's going to be bigger than your average solo film, but it's not going to be Avengers level.
Yeah, I think the idea too is to do smaller, like little smaller, more like compacted universes, and then build up to something like a Secret Wars or something like that. You know what I mean? They've obviously been teasing Secret Wars. Like I've heard Secret Wars from people I know. They've been talking about Secret Wars. So I think like it's I think it's gonna like they're gonna build up all these little teams, right? You'll have like the grounded side with like Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and you'll have like the magic side with Doctor Strange and Wanda, and you'll have the time travel parallel universe side with Loki and Ant-Man and Wasp and whatever, and you'll have what else? There's something else in there. Oh, you have Blade and Moon Knight, and all those guys will be like the more like supernatural side.
Potentially even Daredevil in there.
Right. Yeah. So like you have all these different like kind of genres
style
now that I think
Avengers.
they're gonna have like they're gonna have like little smaller groups or meetings up with and then that's what they're gonna, and then those people all come together for like an epic size event. Because what else can you do at this point? You know what I mean? Like, and I do think that like Marvel saw the reaction to whatchamacallit, No Way Home, and was like, hey, I think we can do.
We could
This is why we're
capitalize on
we can
this
we can do this
for
a little
a
better
while.
in Multiverse of Madness, and that's probably why you got some of those reshoots, right? Because they probably had some test screenings and some people were seeing the film and they're like, all right, we can manage this a little bit better with this movie. Maybe people understand this idea a little bit better. So I don't know. I think Marvel definitely has a plan. I think they are gonna take some swings that maybe misses with all the different stuff that they're doing. They're doing so much stuff now as well with Disney Plus stuff as well. So
I wouldn't doubt it. I think for a lot of people, Hawkeye was a swing and miss. I liked it.
Wasn't for me, but
I liked it.
I liked it too. I thought Kate and Yelena were great together. I thought Kate and Hawkeye were great together. I thought it really built on that. Like, it made that character cool, like, you know, and relevant. You know what I mean? Like, it gave him like this like deep kind of like backstory, and this kind of like more understanding of who he was and what his ability was. And she said it best in the last kind of episode, like, you were just a guy with like a stick and a string, dude, and you were able to fucking hang out with gods and Iron Man and super soldiers, and all you had was this little dinky bow and arrow. So I think it really kind of that's another point I'm trying to make too, is like everybody wanted this big like epic thing from Hawkeye, like, and again, I do it to myself as well, like, oh, maybe Fisk owns Avengers Tower now, but it's not, you know what I mean, and maybe this is like, maybe this happens and maybe so and so shows up, but it's not, that's not what they're trying to do. They're telling these much more personal, smaller stories,
which I like.
Right, and that's what we've been getting too. And I think people will just go in expecting them to be much bigger and grander, and that's just not what they're doing there. I mean, all of them have been like that. Like Captain America was like that. Wanda, that's exactly, it was the stages of grief. You know what I mean? It was all about her. So I don't think I think they will introduce one or two characters here and there in these episodes.
Well,
but
do you see a common theme between, because I saw this argument being made on Jive with Jack, that villains need to be scary? No. Well, yes, to a degree, but the Disney Plus shows, the villains aren't always what meets the eye. Mostly the villains in the Disney Plus shows have been the lead characters themselves, simply because they're facing their pasts. They're reflecting on what they did, what they became. Like Wanda. Wanda is going into, you know, that mode because of grief for what she did in Infinity War. Next up, Falcon Winter Soldier. Do I need to say any more? Right? Do I need to even begin to make the comparison there? No. You know, Falcon's looking in like, shit, you know, Cap's gone. Do I step in? Winter Soldier's looking in like, shit, what was I? I just need to make amends for that. Loki was definitely a self-reflection show in its entirety.
He was literally looking at himself the entire show in every aspect of the way.
Right. And then Hawkeye, who was looking at it himself, saying, I'm not a role model. I became Ronin. I was Ronin, right? The villains, yeah, there were villains in these series that were threats, but the real scary part was the heroes and what they had become. So
yeah, and again, that's kind of always been Marvel's deal, and that's kind of what's been different from Marvel and DC. Is DC deals with the grandiose, like they're gods, they're these like larger than life like characters, but Marvel has never been about that. Marvel has always been about, even the comic books, Marvel has always been about like very grounded characters that can go either way at either time. You know, I mean, Marvel characters are always switching sides, good or bad. So I mean, it really kind of depends on the character I think they're dealing with, and I think I think saying that Marvel goes too light is definitely a valid criticism. Sure, they could definitely go like more serious, quote unquote, but like
yeah.
but that's not what they're doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like they've shown you 22 like for 22 whatever movies, 23, 24 at this point, 25, I don't know. But like that's not their brand. So like get over it and let's talk about something else now.
Yeah,
Like to say
yeah.
that like this isn't serious enough, or they make too many jokes, or blah 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 blah. And they're like, it's just always kind of been their thing. Like if you go to McDonald's and you get McDonald's, why are you complaining? I don't like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
When it makes you feel like shit.
Yeah, and when they do try it with things like Eternals or anything, like the audience responds badly. So it's like it's a lose-lose situation for them.
Exactly. So I do have Jarbo here.
What up?
What's going on, man?
Not too much. Just dealing with like a snowpocalypse situation.
Oh, get over it.
I
So
don't see snow ever, so it's fine.
Are you in Cali?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been listening to our conversation?
I have not. I've been helping my girlfriend get her van unstuck, so she can make the first attempt to go to the store in 3 days.
Well, you missed a lot. We deep in on Marvel and just like the grand scheme of things about how all the shows have been. You know, the villain doesn't need to be as scary. The villain typically in these shows is the lead character, like their paths, their motivations, like, you know, things they've done. It's all really like self-reflection, rather than like a scary villain. We've also talked about what else did we talk about? It's been a few things
I don't know.
already.
I tend to talk and not know what's coming out of my mouth, so.
Yeah. Oh, and then we talked about the creation of GWW and where that all came from. But
Cool.
right now we're talking about the direction of Marvel and basically where they're going and you know, Secret Wars seems to be a place that we are going to find ourselves at. You know,
I think it's going to be, and again, like when Marvel says quote unquote Secret Wars, like what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like it's all branding for them, because even when they use terms like Civil War and Secret Invasion or all these like recognizable names that we've heard before, like they're not really, like they're just like the very like basic aspects of those stories, right? So what does Secret
like,
Wars even mean? You know what I mean? Like it
Secret-
just means that they're gonna
Secret Invasion, right?
Yeah.
If you had to speculate, who would be a Skrull right now?
I don't even know who's in that show.
Well, no, I'm just saying for like
who would be for them?
who would
like,
be a
make
Skrull if we could pick
your
characters that
biggest
maybe
reveal for that show that you could get away with. Again, I don't know. So please, if I see one fucking article about this, I'm gonna fucking punch somebody. So I think it would be like, it would have to be like someone like Maria Hill.
I was just gonna say, if you say Maria Hill, I'm gonna kill myself.
Was big enough that was like, oh, this is shocking, and she's close enough to Fury that would be like. But then wasn't she a Skrull?
Is that a double? Because she was a Skrull in Spider-Man
Exactly.
Home.
Yeah. So I don't know who
I
could
need
you bring
a
back?
hero. I feel like if we need to like really make a bang, right? If we need to throw audiences on their asses.
What's her name could be a Skrull? Julie
Dreyfus.
Yeah, she could be a Skrull.
Well, we need. I think we need a main
you do
hero.
need a hero, but again, like who could you do?
That's what I'm saying. Like who could you do?
Like I guess you could bring Chris Evans back, and you could like have it be part of the storyline where like, oh, he came back for whatever reason, and then slowly reveal that the one that came back with the Skrull, but that would seem extremely obvious.
Yeah. Look who's back! I bet he's a Skrull.
Right.
For heroes, maybe you know, I don't know.
You could do Carter. Agent Carter could be a Skrull.
Yeah, Agent Carter could be.
You could do Justin Hammer, maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
You could do
Justin
Ross.
Hammer would be good.
Ross could probably be a Skrull.
Dude, honestly, Rhodey could be a Skrull. Now that I think
Rhodey
of it,
could probably be a Skrull.
Rhodey could be a Skrull, And that could
Rhodey
have a
getting away with
huge
being a Skrull.
huge impact, but not kill the franchise.
You can make Shiri a Skrull and deal with that problem in 2 ways.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it would have to be someone that was like relatively new, but not someone giant like one of the big six. I guess you'd call them. That's so dumb.
Kingpin's gonna be a Skrull. Yep.
I don't know.
Mephisto's a Skrull,
Oh, I
confirmed.
mean, you could. That's how you could bring back the. This would piss people off so much. You could bring back the Netflix characters and make them all Skrulls.
Oh my god, that would piss so many. That would be like the Ralph Boner thing,
Yeah.
like just in like a higher form of troll. Oh my
Like
god.
you could make Daisy a Skrull. Her name's not Daisy. Was it Daisy still? I watched that show for like 1 season.
Oh, Quake.
Quake. Yeah, you can make her a Skrull.
Yeah, but are they ever gonna bring Coulson back or even recognize Coulson
I think
as
he's
a
in it,
character?
Is he
But-
not?
But at the end of quick thing, at the end of Hawkeye, the watch was a Shield watch. Was Clint's wife in Shield?
Yeah, she was Mockingbird.
But did that just confirm that?
Yeah, because that was the same Agent 19 as Mockingbird, and there was another Mockingbird that was named Laura.
Wow. Okay, so she was Mockingbird, but that would
Mhm.
mean that they just retconned Agents of Shield.
Well, wasn't her name Bobby in that show?
Yes.
Yeah, so different Mockingbird.
Legacy character.
But she was also Agent 19 in the show.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, that's how they're trying to get, like. Again, I hate getting this debate because honestly, until Kevin Feige says yes or no, like no one's gonna believe either way.
Yeah, you're right.
So like,
What if Janet is a Skrull? Janet came back.
Yeah, that could be.
Oh,
Well,
you could do that too.
trapped in the quantum realm for that long, or Skrulls in the quantum
Hey.
realm.
You know, you never know.
Yeah, I guess you do never know.
You could do. Pym could be a Skrull.
Yeah,
he could.
yeah, he could be. He could be.
Oh, he seems really against any of that. So, or actually, he's against the establishment and Shield. So
Yeah,
maybe that'd be his way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I just don't. I don't know how you get any of those people back to do like Secret Invasion, but who knows?
yeah. Interesting. So a new Batman trailer did drop. What did everyone think of that new trailer? I think it's cinematic gold.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Like,
I mean, I don't know. I don't really want to see anymore, but I'm getting like worried now because you're seeing like I've already seen like a TV spot with new footage in it, and I'm like, fuck, they're gonna show every fucking cool part in this movie. You know what I mean, they've already confirmed basically like the major leaks about the movie and how it like kind of ends with all the trailers stuff. So
yep. With the flooding, like
Mhm.
the cleansing of Gotham. But you know, I think if you were not sold on the Batman leading up to right now, I think that chances are you're feeling differently. I think this trailer got a lot of people excited.
yeah, I definitely think Matt Reeves is not going anywhere, and that's I mean again that's obvious by like he's producing 2 TV shows and a cartoon. Like, oh man, like I remember like they were like when he was first hired on and they got Battison. I fucking called him Battison. When they got Robert Pattinson and people were like freaking out and then there's like a rumor going around that they're gonna like they got fired or whatever because people were so mad about it. It's like they
Right.
did the exact opposite, and that's what I'm trying like people to understand. It's like, dude, they're telling you guys what they're doing. Like it's not like it's a big secret. Like let's not like beat around the bush here anymore. Like we know like they're moving away from the previous area and they're trying something new. So let's all accept that and like stop harassing poor Jason Kilar.
Yeah. I mean, again, like the whole Earth 2 thing and the whole, I mean, with the DC world, it's so hard to keep up, like with what is what and who is who, that I think it's turning audiences off.
Yeah, I do think they have a plan going forward for more like interconnectivity, and you're gonna see stuff like bleed into other movies. Like there's like Black Adam has like people from James Gunn's Suicide Squad in it, and not anybody crazy. That the blonde girl, I don't remember.
Yeah.
She's in
James,
Peacemaker
James
too.
Gunn's wife.
Yeah, and like he goes to like a prison, like it's a Waller prison or whatever at some point in the movie. But like, I mean, that's all resolved kind of in the film. Like I don't know if they'll. It doesn't. I haven't heard anything about them like teasing this like broader like Thanos like type moment or anything in any of the new stuff. And in
Yeah.
fact, the two complaints I even kind of got were about the Black Adam and the Shazam test screening was like they weren't that like interconnected, and they weren't like showing a lot of interconnectivity between the stuff. In fact, Black Adam, it was like the same thing as Shazam. Like you saw like toys and stuff, but
Yeah.
there was never really like a straight like appearance by anybody.
Mm.
Shazam a little bit more because I think that got out too, that Wonder Woman does show up
Yeah.
in Shazam, but again, it's like they're not like there's no hint of like, oh, this bigger thing is looming. And I don't even want to talk about what I heard about the Flash because it's going to cause a ruckus, and I don't want people to be mad and start throwing fire.
Well, I
But,
mean,
like,
you're more than welcome to. I mean, with the Flash, like I think it's a hot button issue. I think it's something that I'm personally worried about. Like I really am. You know, with the whole Ben Affleck part of it, Michael Keaton part of it, then you know what I was gonna bring up is the Batgirl thing, and see what your thoughts were on that.
my thoughts are I told everyone about this fucking a year and a half ago or whenever he was cast as Batman, and I said it was a multi-picture deal and he'd show up in fucking Batgirl, and like everyone was like, no, he's not. Like he's 70 years old. And that was the same argument then. and then the J.K. Simmons stuff happened, and then they're like, oh, see, it's gonna be Ben Affleck, and I was like, no, bro, it's gonna be Keaton. You guys are like, watch, it's gonna be Keaton. And then I got the hate mail and all that shit. And then what else happened? And then they were looking at Ben Affleck masks, and then they were like tweeting Ben Affleck stuff, and they're like, see, it's gonna be Ben Affleck. And I was like, all right, dude, like y'all are gonna be like disappointed. I'm telling you right now. So like, it's not Ben Affleck.
Right.
And then that like, I guess the thing that like broke the camel's back on this, because they did not want this to get out. Like WWE, like everyone knew. We all knew. All the trades knew. Like all the inside people knew. We all knew Keaton was coming back to Batgirl. It was just something that was like WWE was like, don't, you know what I mean? They're like, don't say anything all the time. Yet. Don't say anything yet. So so then when that like leaked casting thing that people were like, it's fake, people made it, it's fake, like it's not on the website anymore. It's like, yeah, because like when things get out, like they take it off, like it happens all the time. Like stuff shows up on those press like packet things all the time that they like that's not supposed to be there.
Right.
And that normal people don't see because they don't have like press accounts or they don't have access to that stuff.
Right.
So immediately when I saw that, I was like, uh-oh, someone's in trouble. Like, and I texted people. I was like, dude, have you heard about this? Like, you know what happened? He was like, someone's in trouble. And that's exactly like the text I got back. And then he was like, stand by, like something's gonna happen. And then I was like, okay. And then people were people were still freaking out. They're like, oh no, like it was a typo, blah 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 blah. Like don't worry, everybody, it's still gonna be Ben Affleck. And then
because they saw Keaton's name twice.
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, like by the end of the day, what happened was all the trades, they email, and that's exactly what happened. They all emailed WB at the same time, and they're like, hey, this got out. Can we report on this now? And they're like, yeah. And that's why they all dropped the same article at the same time. And it was nobody's exclusive because like that was out. It's been the deal. And Ben Affleck's out. And the reason why, and this is another stupid thing that like nobody, because they just don't understand because they don't work in the press or they don't have to deal with this shit. When you interview somebody, you either have to submit the questions ahead of time or they give you a list of things you cannot say, or you cannot ask about. Yep. And like, so when people are interviewing Ben Affleck of time, I guarantee you there is something on his, like, we'll call it a writer. I don't know if it's called a writer. It's just like, they just say, don't talk about this stuff or don't ask about this stuff.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's something that says there, don't ask about Batman. So like when he says I'm done with IPs, ones that have a built-in fan base, what IP do you think he's talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Right. It's like,
Right.
So like the writing was on the wall the entire time, and people chose not to believe it, and they chose to believe people who would rather make a dime off of them than tell the truth at the end of the day. And the truth is, like, they're moving on, and what's going to happen is they're going to find, they're at the end of the Flash movie, it's all going to merge together in some fashion. The directive for Batgirl is Birds of Prey cross Batman 89. That's the directive.
Yeah, and you had told me that a while ago.
And you can see that in the art now. It's colorful, but it's gothic, right? Like, I mean, like, she's, and I wouldn't be surprised if she has a purple costume, or it's a purple, dark purple. I don't know. Don't fucking quote me on any of the shit I talk on this podcast. I don't know. But like, again, like, they are certainly moving in a direction. Like, the BP Canary's getting a spinoff, you know what I mean? Peacemaker's getting a spinoff. Like, they're building around what's coming out now under the quote unquote Hamada like tribe or whatever, and it's not going anywhere.
Right.
And like, and Zaslav's not going to come in and like do a hard like U-turn, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that he's not going to throw away all the money they've invested in these universes to go throw what would cost, I mean, on a good day, $600 million to make 2 J. Allen movies.
Right.
Where you have to find a way to convince Gal Gadot to come back, Henry Cavill to come back. You're not gonna have any problem with Jason Momoa or Ezra probably. Ben Affleck. You have to convince all these people to come back, and it's going to cost you. I mean, it could cost you $1 billion by we're all said and done. You know what I mean? So like, why they're not going to do that? That's not the directive. They made Batman for $100 million. Like, they're spending less money to make more money. That's what Hamada does. That's what he did with horror films. That's what he did with New Line. He spends as little money as he can, and he makes as much as he can off of that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's kind of like their deal. And again, the only people who are going to get those exceptions are people who make an exorbitant amount of money on the first time, and then they'll give you a little bit more on the sequel, and then a little bit more on the third time. You know what I mean? So Aquaman, of course, is going to be $250 million movie, but it also made $1 billion. You know what I mean? So it earned some of that back. You know what I mean?
So someone asked about the.
Should you be worried about the Flash?
Yeah. So, in terms of worriment, I don't want you to say anything that you shouldn't. But like, what's the general consensus?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what the general consensus is. No one I've talked to knows about what that movie is, like, down to like the plot points. I mean, we know, like, he's gonna do something with his mom, and he's gonna go save somebody with his mom. We don't know how he gets there, but we know he's gonna show up in Keaton's universe for whatever reason. We don't know why. So and so's there. Cadmus is involved with Supergirl in some way. And then what happens beyond that? By the end of the day, somehow the universe merges. And we know that we saw the set pictures of the courthouse, and we saw Flash there, and Iris there, and Keaton there, and Supergirl there. You know what I mean? So we saw all these things together already. We saw it kind of, it all comes together. But how we get there, I don't know. No one I talk to knows, and we're not gonna know probably until there's a test screening. And at that point, maybe then we'll finally get some like solid plot details. But I don't. So again, does it erase anything? Probably not. Like, they've been pretty clear. It says that they said whatever was previous is gonna remain, but it's gonna create something new, right? So what does that mean? I don't know. But I don't think they're gonna go back and like change events in the movies and change characters, or like erase BVS or erase whatever else. I don't think they're gonna do any of that, but I do think they're gonna find a way to create one merged timeline between all these, like, all their favorite toys, you know what I mean? And that way they can play with things they want. And again, the reason that Ben Affleck is gone is because Ben Affleck wanted to be gone. It's not because I'm sure there were conversations with Ben Affleck to be like, hey, can we do this? Can we try? Like, do you want to do this? Like, of course there were. Like, Ben Affleck's a huge star. But like you know what I mean?
It would be foolish of them not to ask.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So like of course those conversations were maybe had, but but those conversations are had all the time. That's why again I don't like. I always feel like reporting on that stuff is kind of disingenuous. Like to say like, hey, we had this person, like they asked this person, like it's a neat story and all, but like yeah, they talk about weird shit all the time. Like 1,000 movies get pitched a day. Like you get one gets picked up. So it's like, who knows?
Yeah, it's a cesspool of potential, and when it comes down to it,
But I don't think anybody should be quote unquote worried about the Flash. Like again, we know the Snyderverse is done. Like you're not getting JL 2 and 3. In fact, if what I heard about that way the Flash ends, like they're definitely doing a new team like situation involved. So I don't know. I mean, do they find some way to no way home it, and the Flash is the only one that remembers certain events or certain things that happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe. Like, how do they merge? How does J.K. Simmons and Keaton how do they interact?
How
I
do
have
they
no
interact?
idea.
Yeah.
I don't know these questions. Like, but again, I think they're valid questions to have.
Yeah.
But again, to keep telling people that like but the things that you want are still going to happen despite those things clearly not happening. Like I think that's just wrong and disingenuous, and I think you're leading on a fan base who's already volatile and is a powder keg to begin with, and you just
Oh
keep
my
fucking
God.
lighting it up.
Oh, every single week it seems like someone takes the lighter to the keg and just ignites some I don't even know what you want to call it, internet explosion. But yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, I mean it's sad because again, like it's not like WB W has been hiding it. You know what I mean? Like Ann Senoff said in an interview, like in a major trade, like we're moving on. You're not getting these other things. Like it was, I don't think she's the one that called it a cul-de-sac, but somebody called it. You know what I mean? They called it a cul-de-sac or whatever, which is a harsh term, but like it was true. Like you know what I mean? And people are gonna point like, well, it was a success. Like it was such a success, and it was a monumental success. It wasn't. It wasn't. Like, did it trend a lot? Sure, I guess, but like, how does that equate to like dollars and subscriptions and like views? Like, I know no one wants to like legitimize the Samba stats, but it's all we have. So like when it's the only data we have, we kind of have to like at least like consider it. And that data is basically saying like, hey, it was like the lowest viewed of all these other movies. Like, you know what I mean? And but when they come in and they'll say like, oh, well, this is like, but it was like a record, like it was a record POV in these like locations or whatever. Well, yeah, because it wasn't available in theaters and you couldn't stream it anywhere. So the only place you could get it was on that one like POV service or whatever. And that's kind of a skewed metric, because if it was available on a streaming service or in theaters like every other POV movie on that list, like does it still do the same like numbers? Like it's, you know what I mean? So like there's no comparable data really that matches up with the Justice League, because there's nothing really like it. There's no one's released a major like blockbuster of that size in that capacity before.
Understood. And yeah, and that you know that puts a bow on it. I think it's good to hope. I think it's good to have faith. But we do need to be realistic in the sense that, you know, Warner Brothers is a film studio, and eventually they're gonna have to move on and keep making movies.
Well, yeah, I mean, and Snyder has a huge deal with Netflix, right? And he's planning on building 2 universes there already. So like, I mean, that could potentially take up 5-10 years of his time. Like there's so much that has to fall into place for him to continue any of that stuff. It's moving mountains. I don't think people really understand that, and they can have all these conversations they want, but at the end of the day, like again, I don't think you're gonna get much out of Gal Gadot after Wonder Woman 3. I just don't. Like I don't think you're gonna get much out of Jason Momoa after Aquaman 3. You know what I mean? Like these guys, these aren't Marvel actors. Like, you know what I mean? they want to be in other stuff. They want to do other things. So I don't think how long they're going to stick around for those particular roles. I don't see it happening.
Exactly. And listen, man, I knew we were gonna have to keep this one short. But I hope this is the first of many. I love having you on talk. I think your insight is, just your views in general are fun to listen to. So I really appreciate you coming on tonight.
Oh, we're done already? That was fast.
That was fast. This one was only 50 minutes. Usually I like to go for another 30. But I do, I have work pretty early, and I have something that all of a sudden needs to be taken care of.
Oh, you're good.
So let's plan, in the next week or two, we'll bring you back on, and we'll get to have a full length conversation.
Sure, yeah, anytime, man. I'll try. Anytime I can hop on, I'll try. Even if I can, if you ever see me in the chat to one of your videos, usually I can at least hop on to talk. So I'll let you know.
Hell yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, how can they find you on social media?
You can find me at the Comics Kid on Twitter. That's the COMIXKID. And yeah, and then the GWW, so the _GWW on Twitter as well.
Awesome.
That's pretty much where you can find everything.
Yeah, and then for all your geek related news, head over to the GWW.com. We love that. We love that site. We like to avidly promote it here. So I write there as well. And it's always a good place for non paid for reviews and good shit. So I love it. As always, guys, make sure to like this video, share it on social media so your friends, family, and Mephisto can watch along with you. Other than that, if you want to support, definitely hit subscribe, join, and send a super chat while we're live. All proceeds go back into the show. This month, we're going to be giving away an Amazon Fire Cube thing. It's a $120 thing that I just picked up. So I can't wait to give that away. And that'll be our member giveaway for the month. With that being said, we will. One more thing. So Jack is taking the week off. So Jive with Jack will not happen on Thursday again. I'm gonna try to fill the slot, but it remains to be seen. I might do like a little pre-recorded video, but I will keep you updated. Y'all know I love you, and I'll see you next time.